Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you my new watercolor sketchbook and the first painting I'll be making in it. If you're just here to see the painting, I'll make sure to add timestamps, so just check out the chapters down in the description box. Since this video, I've worked on a few more paintings, including one with lots of wet and wet that the paper surprisingly took quite well. Of course it did buckle slightly because I hadn't even taped it, but it dried pretty flat. I haven't actually used this pocket for anything yet because I've still just been painting indoors, but I'm sure it'd be useful for plein air stuff. Well, before I paint, I thought I should probably do a little test of how the different mediums I might use in the sketchbook would fare on the paper. A few paintings later, I can vouch for painting on both sides. So I applied the masking fluid first so it'd have time to dry while I went and tested other things. I ended up using lifting in my second painting in the sketchbook, there in the corner, for the sunlight rays, which worked quite well. So a few of these tests are inspired by a template from Sadie Saves the Day, and I'll link to it in the description box if you'd like to see the original. I think I might have been using cobalt blue here, but I've recently found that my ultramarine blue dark granulates way more. I don't know about other papers, but for sure in this sketchbook it granulated a lot, to the point where I decided not to use it in any of my skin mixes because it kept settling into like speckles of blue, which I personally didn't want to see in the one that I was doing so. So there was a tiny bit of ghosting to the other side with the alcohol markers, and based on my recent studies, sometimes my pentel brush pen does that too, which is that black, the black brush pen that I've been using here. By the way, I'm sorry for the camera kind of sliding back and forth. I didn't realize that my phone by default tries to stabilize time lapses even though it's taken from stationary locations, so there's like this weird movement, but the drawing and painting section of the video won't be like this. So today I'm painting the Grishaverse character Kuwei, also known as criminally underrated. Okay, that's not official, but anyway. So this is a mashup between Kuwei, who was in the book Duology, Six of Crows, and Conan Gray's album's Kid Krow. So the pose is inspired by how Conan is sitting in the album cover photo. I'm loosely referencing Kuwei's face on Felix from Stray Kids, but to be honest he kind of ended up looking more like the character Yonu from the K-drama Hotel de Luna, at least to me anyway. The drama was so good, also the soundtrack was amazing. Anyway, Conan has a bird sort of hovering above his shoulder in the album cover, so I thought I'd change Kuwei's bird into a firebird/phoenix type to reference his fire controlling abilities. I'm using a nail art tool for all the masking fluid because it comes off quite easily and I don't have to worry about soaping the brush and everything. Finally, it's painting time. I'm going to start with Kuwei's blue etherealky kefta, and I'm vaguely basing the colours on what I saw in the Shadow and Bone TV series, though I feel like the lightings or colours in the show have kind of been edited for like atmosphere or whatever, so in reality the colours of the costumes could have been slightly different, but definitely blue of some sort. I'm kind of painting a bit looser than I normally do, though this still might not be considered loose in general, so we'll see how it goes. I have to say it felt a bit weird to paint without line art, but it was quite fun. I think it's good to practice without line art. It probably helps me learn about building shadows, contrast, and stuff like that. The Firebird was probably my favourite bit of the whole painting. It was so fun doing the little curves of the wing flames. I also think it complemented quite nicely the colours in Kuwei's kefta. quite interesting to paint. I don't normally draw footwear that often, so that's definitely something to do future studies on. I like to use this hard eraser for rubbing off the masking fluid. I think it's Faber-Castell. Anyway, something I'd wanted to try for ages was using coloured pencil over watercolour. I think I got a little scared by the very obvious texture the pencil has on this cold pressed paper, so I didn't go very far with it on the face. Though I went a bit further with the coloured pencil on studies that I've done more recently with darker skin, and I think it turned out really nice. You know how I mentioned the paper texture? So I tried to use that to help suggest the kind of texture of the embroidery or thread. I ended up using quite similar colours to the Firebird, which I think helped it look cohesive overall. Time for the golden eyes. I actually made another video swatching this handmade gold watercolour and other metallics, so I'll link to it in the corner if you're interested. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. I am also on Ko-fi, where I'll be opening commissions and sharing more art. Any support helps so much. The next video will be on my daily drawing habit and tips that I've learned. See you soon. Take care.